This is the book of Isaiah 65, 7 verse 2, and it says, I have spread out my hands all day unto a rebellious people, which walketh in a way that was not good, after their own thoughts. A people that provoketh me to anger continually to my face, that sacrificeth in gardens and burneth incense upon altars of brick, which remain among the graves and lodge in the monuments, which eat swine's flesh, and the broth of abominable things is in their vessel, which say, Stand by thyself, come not near to me, for I am holier than thou. These are a smoke in my nose, a fire that burneth all day. First of all, I'd like to start out by giving all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Rakakadash. Double honor to the teachers, sellers, and the apostles of Great Millstone. Also to you, brothers that are putting on this truth, faithfully, fearlessly feeding the sheep, and to you, brothers and sisters that are tuning in, Shalom. And today we're going to go into what you see here on the screen. Here, a nation lost in the enchantments, and those enchantments are the enchantments of Great Babylon America, this wicked queendom that right now we are prisoners of war in right now, and the prophets, elders, teachers, and likewise brothers, from Great Millstones on the highway and byway every day, and we're crying out to the Lord, Yahweh Shai Mashiach, to come get us out of this place and destroy this wicked queendom, because this place is destroyed the tribe of Israel, all 12 tribe of Israel, us so-called blacks, Native Americans, Latinos, okay, and they're also the speckled birds that are across this earth. Now, you take a look at this picture here, and you see there's 4 characters here, and these 4 characters are the proxies that were used during the wicked movement, aka the civil rights movement of the 1960s. Okay, you have Rosa Parks, you have Malcolm X, you have President Lyndon B. Johnson, and you have Martin Luther King Jr. Okay, and now these proxies were set up by who? The wicked elites. Okay, and these were the prominent figure of that time that ushered in this wickedness that right now you see now in the 21st century. Okay, is completely out of control, and there's only one way that this nation is going to go, and that is what? Absolute destruction. Okay, perdition. Okay, and so we're going to go and take a look at these individually, because each one of these proxies here, each one of these wicked figure that you see here, okay, had a lot to do with the destruction of Israel. Now, we had just come out of the slavery. Okay, we had just come out of so-called, what they said we were free from slavery. Okay, and us so-called Negroes, Native Americans, and Latinos in here were trying to make some type of life here. Of course, that was not good enough for these elites, because these elites know exactly who we are, and they knew that at some point in time that we were going to get this truth back into us. But for the meantime, they needed to make Israel as wicked as possible. Let's start off with, let's go back into the book of Isaiah 65 and 2, and let's go and read that again. And we're going to go into that. And it says, I have spread out my hands all day unto a rebellious people, which walketh in a way that was not good, after their own thoughts. A people that provoketh me to anger continually to my face, that sacrifice in gardens and burn incense upon altars of brick, which remain among the graves and lodge in the monuments, which eat swine's flesh and the broth of abominable things in their vessel, which say, Stand by thyself, come not near me, for I am holier than thou. These are smoke in my nose, a fire that burneth all day. Now, we're looking at this, okay? And this was a time when, our people are rising up and saying, we're begging, okay, to be given a chance to prove to the so-called white man that we are above prime weights, okay? Because while Jake was not being whipped out caught in the field, Jake was being persecuted by these gangs known as the KKK. Okay, Jake was not employed. Jake couldn't go into certain places. There was a lot of signs all over the place that says no niggers. Okay, no niggers, no spics. Okay, to come into these establishments. But our people wanted to do what? Okay, we wanted to have ourselves equate to that of the so-called white man. Okay, so we were going through something called, post-slave traumatic syndrome. Okay, post-slavery traumatic syndrome. Okay, PSTS. Okay, we were in such a low state that any opportunity to enjoy the pleasures of the Edomite Empire, Great Babylon America here, we were willing to be deceived. Okay, so this was an opportunity that these elites saw. Okay, we're stiff-necked people. We have a feeling of a false sense of victory that we came out of slavery. Okay, so our people kind of was walking around. We don't we're not in the cotton field anymore. Okay. And all we had to do was just judge the KKK, or, take a beat and hopefully live afterward. And what we want to do, we want to eat, drink, think, get educated, walk, talk, and follow the illusions of Babylon America. And that was the ultimate goal. Okay. You had slogans that were created later on, like the United Negro College Fund, which spoke about what a mind is a terrible thing to waste. Okay. And now it spoke about the fact that we were, once kings and rulers of this earth. Okay. And we were in authority over these sodomite, Edomite cave beasts that are now terrorizing us. Okay, during that time, it says, and we were misled to even glamorize, Jesus, willingly, and accept being less than the true abased man. Okay, so this is what took place. Okay, and that's where and this was offensive to the Most High Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Let's go into the book of Ezekiel 12 and start with verse 1. It says, the word of the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, also came unto me, saying, Son of man, that dwellest in the midst of a rebellious house, which have eyes to see and see not, they have ears to hear and hear not, for they are rebellious house. Okay, so, our people, right now, even with this truth out there, is not hearing. Okay, at that time, the awakening wasn't the way it is right now. Okay, there wasn't anybody. There wasn't our Bibbins and the prophets, and the prophets after that, and right now to our leaders right now in Great Millstone. Okay, bringing out this truth, and this technology is getting to those like myself and likewise brothers who came into this truth through what? Watching the videos, and the Spirit came on us, and now here we are, bringing out the word and this truth out, to the other sheep out there that haven't been found yet. Okay. And this is reason why you see this rebellious state. Okay, the prophets of old was not able to get through to who? Wasn't able to get through to our people, because our people don't want to listen. Let's go into the book of Proverbs 29 and 25, and it reads, the fear of man bringeth a snare, but whoso put his trust in the Lord Yahweh shall be safe. Many seek the ruler's favor, but every man's judgment cometh from the Lord Yahweh. And we're going to go now from that precept, okay, into where we see right now where this is leading into, okay, because the first thing that has to happen is you have to have a rebellious state. Okay, and I've just brought out what those precepts that talk about the rebellions against who? Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Okay, so we're going to go into the first rebellion here, and before we go into this, let's bring out Proverbs 29 and starting with verse 2, and it says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. Why were we mourning at that time? Because we were being ruled over by wicked. Now here is the rebellious woman here. This is Rosa Parks. Okay, now Rosa Parks is well known as what? Who did not give up a seat for a so-called white man on the bus. Okay, and this actually was the start of what they call the civil rights movement, which I like to coin it as the wicked rights movement, because Rosa Parks, as you see here, became a very prominent figure here in Great Babylon America. So Rosa Parks actually started the downfall of Jake's post, our yoke of iron that was on our neck when we was in slavery and hardcore bondage, being, beaten and ruled over by this man in great oppression to make him rich. And it says, and, her act was not of strength, but rebellion. Now they look at this, because when you take a look at this picture here, okay, you can see where the rebelliousness of Rosa Parks here, okay, some might look at it and say, well, she wasn't being rebellious, she was fighting for her rights, and she had a right to do that. But we can see where this led to, and we're going to get into this. And it said, we're going to get into this, okay. But rebellion, white once elite the elite, okay, got alert of this, and they saw it as a catalyst to get the ball rolling on the ultimate deception of the children of Israel. Okay, they saw this. Okay, they go, we've got the character that we need. We finally got someone that actually can do what we want them to do. She inspired the woman's rebellion, and now we have a tribe of rotten crotch, two-third demons, with goo hair glued to their skull. Okay, this is what we got right now. So let's go into the book of Genesis. Okay, so we can see, Rosa Parks really is actually what Eve did in the garden. Just as Genesis 3 and 13 it reads, and the Lord God said unto the woman, what is this that thou hast done? And the woman said, the serpent beguiled me, and I did eat. Okay, and who's that serpent? We know that serpent is Esau, the Edomite, the so-called white man, because this is what he does. Okay, he beguiles the nations, but he especially beguiled, okay, the children of Israel, starting with the woman. Okay, he went to Eve, and this is what they did. They came to Rosa Parks, okay, and they realized that Rosa Parks, okay, is like Eve, rebellious, okay, wanted to step out into the light, wanted to do something that was different. And so Rosa Parks became that catalyst. Okay, let's go into the book of Proverbs 9 and 13. It says, a foolish woman is clamorous, she's simple and knoweth nothing. Okay, now Rosa Parks didn't understand what the deal was going on, that how she was being used, okay, by the elites. Okay, she thought that she was doing something great. She probably didn't intend to do it, but in fact this was the role that she was actually set up to do, okay, by Yahweh, which was what? To bring out what you see started in the 60s here, which is the wicked rights movement, okay, which propelled into all of these abominable movements that we see here today, and these laws that are in place to protect, you know, the abominable acts, okay, of those people we know as the sodomites here, or what they call them, LGBTQ. Okay, so now you look at this picture here, what you see, what came out of this. Okay, women start to unite. Okay, so the household became broken afterward. No longer women want to wear trousers or wear dresses anymore. They want to wear trousers. Okay, they want to go into the work environment. Women started usurping authority over man. Okay, and what we see here on the picture on the top, we see this is now the 21st century. Now what we have, okay, these demons now holding up sign. Okay, they want to kill the babies. Okay, they want to kill the future of our nation. Let's go into the book of Ecclesiasticus 25, verse 23, and it reads, a wicked woman abated the courage and make it a heavy countenance and a wounded heart. A woman that will not comfort her husband in distress make it weak hands and feeble knees. Now that word abate, that word abated means to become defeated or become null or void. Okay, now at this point in time, the men were were men at that time standing, to protect the house to the best of their ability, also to go there and provide for the family. But now with this women's right movement going, okay, suddenly now women were now thrust into the limelight and thrust out into the work environment and thrust into roles that were actually meant for men. Okay, so this became now the destruction, okay, of the man, the power of the man, particularly here in the tribe of Israel. Okay, the Hebrew Israelites, so-called Blacks, Native Americans, and Latinos. The man power now start to dissipate because now the woman was now thrust into those positions, okay, where the man had those power. Okay, let's go to the book of 1 Timothy 2, verse 12, and it reads, but I suffer not a woman to teach, nor to usurp authority over the man, but to be in silence. For Adam was first formed, then Eve, and Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in transgression. Now, again, leading, what became out of this, rebellious, or this rebellion from Rosa Parks. Okay, now you can, again, people can argue and say Rosa Parks was rebelling against the so-called white man. That was a good thing because now we got rights and everything like that. And we're going to go a little bit further into that because, did we have rights or did we have equality? And who did we have equality to? Okay, who are we less than? That's the question you have to ask yourself. Okay, so the authority now that this became was the fact that she now became the representation, okay, of the tribe of Israel. Okay, she became the representation. She became the face of so-called Negroes or niggers, as they call it, refer to us at that time, or the so-called black people, as they refer to at that time, or colored people. Okay, so now you see her on television. You see her now being paraded all over the place if you look at some of these black and white image. And this, okay, became that opportunity, okay, when we get into the abomination of LBJ, which is Lyndon B. Johnson, okay, the president at the time, who's doing the orders of the elites, okay, became that catalyst, okay, to elevate what their real plan really was, okay, which is part of that destruction of Israel. Let's go into the book, okay, of Proverbs 3:31 and verse 3, and it reads, give not thy strength unto women, nor thy ways to that which destroyed kings. Okay, but this was not the case. Okay, now while this did not destroy the Edomites, it certainly had no impact on them. This destroyed, okay, this destroyed the kings of Israel. This destroyed the men. Okay, because at this time here, as you see here down below, women unite. Okay, and now what you see up on the top right there it is right there. That's the end result right there. Okay, we've earned demons, okay, that are walking around right now, a certain authority, okay, over the man, because the man now are abased in the tribe of Israel. Okay, the men are abased. The men have been abated. Okay, null and voided, with the exception of the men, the 1/3 of the men who are part of the 1/3 of the hopefully elect. Okay, who's doing the work of Yahushua and Mashiach. Okay, so now let's move into let's move into the next one here. Okay, delusion. Now, Malcolm X was a smooth talker. You know, he introduced false god and religions, you know, power in our hands, and, you know, a lot of non-fruitful actions here. As you can see here, he had this thing, you know, black power. Okay, and if you look at that top picture, what does it say? It said, there is no god but Allah, you know, because now what he did was basically, whereas, you know, Jake was kind of more focused on the so-called you know, Jesus, you know, the white man, you know, image of God. You know, Jake had these other ones now to contend with, you know, because Jake wasn't exposed to Islam and Muslim and, you know, all these other, you know, Hindu and all these other deities out there, you know, at that time, you know. So now this kind of opened that gateway. Okay, this is a part of the plan with the elites. Okay, to get, you know, someone like Malcolm X out there. So he created this grandeur delusion, okay, for Jake's. Okay, Jake wanted to have power in their hand. Let's go into the book of Leviticus 26. This is the book of Leviticus 26, and verse 17, it reads, and I will set my face against you, and ye shall be slain before your enemies. They that hate you shall reign over you, and ye shall flee when none pursue you. Now, this was happening a lot during the 60s. I mean, we seen so many, you know, films and movies made about it. If you watch a movie called Detroit, that took place in the 60s, and guess what? You know, those cops, they slaughtered Jake in that house, and, you know, never got convicted for it. And so we knew a lot of things was going on during that time. Okay, in which Jake was, you know, being slain by Esau, you know, randomly. And it says, and if you will not yet for all this happen unto me, then I will punish you 7 times more for your sins. And I will break the pride of your power, and I will make your heaven as iron and your earth as brass. And your strength shall be spent in vain, for your land shall not yield her increase, neither shall the trees of the land yield their fruits. Now, of course, this is going back into the old times, okay? You know, when we offended the Most High, Yahweh, but this also is impacting us to this day. Okay, we, you know, toiled and not toiled in vain and don't achieve anything. Okay, our heaven is not like Esau's. Okay, we're living in hell. Esau is living in heaven. Okay, the pride of our power. Okay, again, you get this guy. He was delusional. Okay, he wanted to bring that out. You know, he wanted to bring out, you know, the power in our hands. Okay, he said, you know, although, you know, he knew that it couldn't happen, and the elites knew that too. This is what his job was, and that's why he had that militant walk. Okay, and that's why you see the attitude of Jake was a militant way. Okay, we still have that curse that's on us from Deuteronomy 28. Okay, we cannot get out of it. But Malcolm X reinforced our commitment to be in rebellion against the Most High, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, and that's all this was. We were not going to cry to the Most High. Let's go into the book of Psalms 44. Starting verse 6, and it says, for I will not trust in my bow, neither shall my sword save me. But thou hast saved us from our enemies, which the Lord Yahweh Shemashah has done it many times. Okay, took us out of Egypt and all the other empires that has had us in captivity. He has taken us, he has saved us. Okay, but we, of course, were rebellious. That's what we are. And it says, and has put them to shame that hated us. In God we boasted all the day long, and praise thy name forever. Selah. But thou hast cast off and put us to shame, and goes not forward with our armies. Okay, now, you know, as I mentioned earlier, okay, in Leviticus 26, you know, verse 17, okay, which talked about what? And your strength shall be spent in vain, for your land shall not yield her increase. Now, of course, we don't have our own land. We actually live here in Great Babylon, America, but whatever that we have, okay, is not yielding any increase. We don't have businesses. Okay, the one business that was out there, okay, that one town, they burned it down. And every time Jake tried to start a business, somehow it just got sabotaged. We don't get loans from banks to get ahead like the way these other nations do when they come over here like that, where they have a head start or you know, they have a soft landing. You know, they can make error. Okay, for us, we, you know, you have to save for your entire life. to start a little business that just can't grow and compete against the corporations of these other nations that are here, okay, including Esau. And it says, let's go back to Psalms 44 and verse 9. It says, but thou hast cast off and put us to shame, and goes not forth with our armies. Of course, the Lord is not down with this. We can't, what did it say? We can't trust in swords. Yet still, Esau had us doing this, because right now, this here is where the nigger, okay, was created, started to be created from this time. Okay, now these niggers, okay, every decade become much more niggerish than the previous ones. Okay, so this is where the start of niggerism really started. Okay, from here, because now you have, hey, let's take up arms and go up against our oppressor. Okay, they're not in the spirit of turning to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. So Jake, is looking to trust in Esau's blessing, which is a sword, spawning the Black Panther, Black Power movements, which were infiltrated very easily. Okay, I mean, the white man got into those movements, those movements of Black Panther, paying Jake $50 at that time, or giving him a damn good lunch. Okay, so it's nothing. Okay, and it expanded our thoughts, okay, into utter folly, like gods and Rastafarian, Islamic, Muslim, Hindu, Christianity variants. Okay, we started figuring out, calling ourselves Catholic and Anglicans and Protestants and Methodists and all kinds of craziness. Because why? A lot of, when they came out there, they always had these things like what? Reverend or saint or some other crap along with them. So he brought that out because he was what? The Nation of Islam. Okay, so this had Jake thinking that you can now start to follow these other, these other deities at this time. Okay, so that, again, this is another this character here, Malcolm X. Okay, he brought a great delusion on us. He was instrumental in that delusion, and they used him to bring delusion on us. Now let's go to the main character here. This character here, Martin Luther King Jr. was the main character of the trio. Okay, with smooth mouth and willingness to lead the entire flock of sheep astray, he became the mouth of the elite. Given all the power and authority to march, be on TV, demand changes, and even speak on the lawn of the devil. The White House. Okay, and you go, wow. So when people seeing a so-called black man like Martin Luther King, can speak on the lawn of the White House, and he's on television, he's walking around, he's got an entourage, he's shaking hands with dignitaries, and he has a name, what? Reverend. Okay, Reverend means what? Rivera. Okay, someone who's important. Okay, and he sound like a preacher, like a typical black preacher. I'm 80, and I want to see black men and little black girls and little white girls hold hands together and all that stuff like that. So he was preaching. He came out there, and when you take a look at this bottom photo here, okay, look at it. It says, we demand decent housing now. We demand equal rights now. We demand, to be equal to the so-called white man, who's actually the abased, okay, the most abased man created out of the 18 nations. Okay, but this was what his mission was to ensure that we stay abased mentally. Okay, not only physically, okay, but mentally, because a king doesn't necessarily have to have a throne. A king can, you would be a king. We see ourselves as kings right now, even though we're servants of Yahushua and Mashiach, but we have a king mentality, even though we're in an abased state. Okay, physically, we don't have mansions, we don't have billions of dollars, and we don't own anything. But we walk and speak with authority. You're going to be destroyed, Esau. We're going to rule over you. We're going to put you in slavery. And that's just the end of it. Let's go into the book of Isaiah 9, starting with verse 13. And it reads, for the people turning not unto him that smited them, neither do they seek the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushai of hosts. Therefore the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushai will cut off from Israel head and tail, branch and rush in one day. The ancient and honorable, he is the head, and the prophet that teaches lies, he is the tail. This guy was a dreamer, man. That's why they talk about the dream. I have a dream. Okay, he was a dreamer. And our people to this day still in the dream. Okay? So you're going to see the accumulation of the rebellions of Rosa Parks, okay, the delusion of Malcolm X, and then you have this man, Martin Luther King, who actually helped kept our people in their base mentality, okay? Was all that Esau needed. Okay, let's continue here. And it says, for the leaders of this people cause them to err, and they that are led of them are destroyed. Therefore the Lord shall have no joy in their young men, neither shall have mercy on their fatherless and widows. For everyone is an hypocrite and an evildoer, and every mouth speaketh folly. And this man was speaking a lot of folly. He was telling us that we are beneath these doggone pasty pale people that cannot go in the sun for even 20 minutes without rubbing lotion on their skin. Okay, he was telling us that we have to do what the so-called white man says. Okay, and you've seen this perpetrated today. Take a look at this picture on the top. It says no freedom till we're equal. So in 2020, so-called Negroes, Native Americans, and Latinos are still thinking themselves as not being equal to the so-called white man. So what happened in that 40-year period of the civil rights movement? How do you still think that you're not equal? Or I should say 50 years or 60 years movement. So in 2020, our people still think they're not equal. And that's why you see Black Lives Matter. You're referring to yourself as black. We're a tribe. We're not a color. BLM. So again, the elites, have morphed, okay, this delusion, okay, this rebellion, okay, and the abasement, okay, mental state of being a base, okay, on Jake, much more hardcore. Because why? These three facilitated that. And it says, for all this, his anger is not turned away, but his hands are stretched out still. So right now, to this day, in 2022, the Lord's hand is still stretched out to do what? To bring the fold back in, okay? To bring the fold back in. But they don't want to do it, okay? This is Martin Luther King. This was Martin Luther King's job. And he did a great job, okay, for Esau. Let's go into the book of Isaiah 30, 7 verse 1. It says, woe to the rebellious children, said the Lord Yahweh Shemashai, that take counsel but not of me. Our people taking counsel of Esau, man, and these other nations. Okay, you go visit another nation and you want to become those people. Because why? They're living the way you want to live. And we all know that. I've been to a couple nations and I wanted to be like those people because they live a lot better than I did. I thought they were better. Okay, somewhat, I had no evidence that I was a king or I was who I was. I didn't know who I was, so I wanted to be like them. Okay? And it says, woe to the rebellious children, said the Lord Yahweh Shemashai, that take counsel but not of me, and that cover with a covering but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin, that walk down into Egypt and have not asked at my mouth, to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt be your confusion. There is a great confusion here. Okay? Because if you had a movement like this, it should have what? It should have yielded results, and yet still there's no results. Okay? The bottom picture shows us begging to be equal to a base man or our oppressor. Okay? And yet still in 2022, we still have our people walking around with Black Lives Matter sign and saying no freedom until we're equal. So Martin Luther King did a great job for the so-called white man by keeping us in that abased state. Okay, he kept us in that abased state. Okay, now we already know Martin Luther King, admitted afterward, okay, that what he had made a mistake, that he had deceived us, okay, and that he shouldn't have done what he had done. But he was enjoying the pleasures that they gave him. The white women, the so-called white women, the whores, okay, great food, shaking hands with dignitaries, traveling around. Okay, putting this illusion of power out to our people. Okay, because our people are in a base state. And the Lord Yahweh Shemashai put his ass to death by Esau. He was shot in the head. Good riddance. He'll come back into the kingdom. That's what he really is. Now let's go to the final slide here, and this is the abomination. Okay, because now we're going to recap all of this in the end, because this is exactly what the so-called white man wanted. Take a look at this, okay? Remember, at least they're controlling everything. This is the book of Revelations 18:2. And it says, and after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and it's become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of unclean and hateful bird. And this will be the perfect place, okay, for the wicked. The so-called white man is the wicked. We do wickedly, but he is the wicked. So why wouldn't you want to have a lot of wickedness around you? That's why I said habitation of devil, and hold of every foul spirit, okay, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. The kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth have waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, which is the 1/3 elect, okay, that ye be not partakers of her sin, and that ye not receive of her plagues, which are coming, and which are here right now. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and God hath remembered her iniquities. Now, let's go and take a look at what that is talking about here. Lyndon B. Johnson, okay, he had instructions from the elites and was given authority to give authority to those three. Rosa Parks, okay, Malcolm X, okay, and Martin Luther King Jr. They all had to get orders from who? Lyndon B. Johnson, in order to do what they can do, okay, which is making doing those movements, okay, keeping those rallies, all those civil rights, so-called civil rights movement walks through those cities being televised. This all had to come from him, and he got his authority from who? The wicked elites, okay, and us being compared, okay, to a monkey, 3/5 of a man, okay, according to their constitution, and given so-called rights, all the abomination can now be legally and publicly be enacted under the guise of movements or demonstration, okay? So this civil rights movement gave birth, this civil rights movement, which is the wicked rights movement, gave birth to what you're seeing right now. Our people are lost. You have the lesbian and gay rights, human rights, you have animal liberation, okay, go and eat, vegetable, okay? You have all the abominable cuisines here that you see down below here, okay? You have the equal employment opportunity. And the EEO is self-identification that leads to making it easier for them to deny giving you a job. And we fall for it because it says equal. Remember, the word equal has been put into our head from what? The 1960s, okay? So that's when we see the word equal, we clearly go and say, yeah, I'm black, okay? And guess what happened? They go, oops, they throw that resume in the garbage, okay? Seafood, which is considered a making it or a status food, okay? Which contains all the abominable food that we're not supposed to eat. Shellfish, fish without scales, okay? Pork, okay? Is another delicacy that Esau puts in just about everything, okay? You have sodomite rights, okay? The elites got Jake to align with them, okay? Rap music, hip hop, sports, representing Babylon at the Olympics and just about everything, demonstrating, okay, the white man is superior through serving him despite all the wrong committed on the nation of Israel, okay? So our people want to just forget about it, let bygone be bygone and serve this man. And the tribe of Israel, our so-called blacks, Native Americans, and Latinos, in particular Judah, has made this country very wealthy, okay? And that's what Revelations 18:2, okay, when it says, verse 3 says, for all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth have waxed rich through abundance of her delicacies. What are her delicacies? Rap music, sports, memorabilia, all kinds of craziness. And who contributed to that? Jake. Jake contributed to it, okay? Jake contributed to all of that. So they got all of their abomination right. And that's all that civil rights movement was all about, was to bring all of this. And now look at our people worshiping so-called white Jesus, Caesar Borgia. You can't get through to them. Continuously fighting for equal rights. When will it end? It won't. Okay? Until Yahushua Mashiach returns and destroy this place. So they did a great job of this. So let's recap. Okay? Recap here. Okay? So we have the abased, the rebellious, the delusional, and the abomination. Okay, these four characters were instrumental to what you're seeing is right now presently here at Great Babylon, America. Let me close up with a scripture here, and it says, this is the book of Isaiah 31 and verse 1. Start with verse 1. It says, woe to them that go down to Egypt, which we know this is spiritual Egypt, okay, and Sodom. Okay, we've seen the pictures, you can see it right here. For help, and stay on horses and trust in chariots because they are many, and in horsemen because they are very strong. But they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek the Lord Yahweh Shemi Ashai. All our people should be pissed every day. We, through our work and dedication, made this man what he is on this earth. We made Great Babylon what it is right now. We made this place wealthy, and yet still we're at the bottom. Okay, so why are you trusting into a crook, into a wicked man that would steal from you, that would deceive you? You've not been paid what we're supposed to be paid. We don't live the life that we're supposed to live despite the fact that we contribute about 90% of the wealth here in Great Babylon, America. And it says, yet he also is wise and will bring evil and will not call back his words, but will rise against the house of the evildoers and against the help of them that work iniquity. And Jake, I mentioned it, help in the iniquities that goes on here. Rap music, okay? The demonic things that they're doing right now. Jake is gay in sodomites and pushing it, and you know, Jake take it to the next level because Jake has us solved. Okay, so Jake is right now is really helping Esau to be that foul, and Great Babylon to be that foul place that the scripture talks about. That Revelation 18 talks about this foul, demonic, decrepit place that is going to be destroyed by Yahweh Shem Yahshai, and he's making a call for us to get out of it. And that's why you see we are getting out of it, because this place has to go. So Lord willing, you edified with this. I wanted to bring this out because you know, a lot of our people, especially our young people, you know, they see every city you go into, there's a Martin Luther King Boulevard. You'll see stamps with, you know, Rosa Parks on it. You see Martin Luther King picture everywhere, books. Okay, Malcolm X not so much, but he's around because he's dealing with the nation of Islam. You've got Farrakhan. Okay, Lyndon B. Johnson, of course, he's one of these sodomite, Edomite leaders who was instrumental in that too. Okay. But these right here, these trios, okay, that look like us, okay, has been the cause of the loss and the demise of the children of Israel here in Great Babylon to this day. Now we know that the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahshai controls everything, okay, but this is to let you know that these three here and what they have done and how they've been, okay, the catalyst of the wickedness that our people are now perpetrating now today, okay, in the presence of the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahshai, okay, as part of the wicked queendom, Great Babylon, America, okay, ruled over by the wicked, the so-called white man, Esau. Okay, so I'd like to close it by giving all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh Shem Yahshai, by Shem Rakakadash, double honors to teachers, elders, and apostles of Great Millstone. Also to you brothers that are putting on the truth faithfully, fearlessly feeding the sheep, and to you brothers that are tuning in, Shalom.